All right. Okay, guys, I am live. Can you all see me? Can you all hear me? My chat room is not open right now for whatever reason. I'd probably be better off putting my glasses on. You know. How's everyone doing this fine, almost end of Sunday? Is there anybody even in the chat room? I literally just opened it. All right. Who's ready to have a fun stream, guys? Can I see a couple people in the chat room? Can you guys hear me? Can you see me okay? We all good? Ugh. Not hearing from anybody. I don't know if y'all can see me. Possible maybe nobody's in the chat and I'm just talking to myself. Who knows? It'll be a very fun stream if that is the case. Mr. God, what's up? How you doing tonight, man? Can you guys hear me okay? Well, I'm clear. All right. Sounds great. Sounds great. So, really, the whole point of this live stream is that I'm going to react to and give my thoughts and feelings on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which I watched tonight instead of watching the Game of Thrones finale because I don't have HBO. So, Game of Thrones is one of those things that I just watch later at a friend's place or something. The reaction that I'm hearing to the finale is that it's not good, but this entirety of season 8 has not been great. So it'll be interesting to check that out and finally put a nice little bow on the Game of Thrones package. Vince need to leave it? Only reason Bork Laser won was because of Zionism. That might be the weirdest comment I've ever gotten in one of these chat rooms. Brock is now the third man to win King of the Ring, Royal Rumble, and Money in the Bank. Who are the other two? Is it Randy Orton? No, did Orton ever win King of the Ring? I don't think so. See, King of the Ring feels like it's from a bygone era. Sheamus was one. I remember Sheamus was King Sheamus for a while, and he won the Rumble, and he won like one of those like TV King of the Ring tournaments. I can't even begin to guess who the other one is. Edge. Edge was the other one. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so what did you all... I'm seeing like AEW can't get here fast enough. Hashtag AEW. What did you all think of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view? Anybody, do we have no thoughts on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view? I guess you all are here for me to give my feelings on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, but I was hoping to open the floor to you guys a little bit and let you say something. 6 out of 10. That's probably where I am with it. You can actually see I put a small description of what I thought of it in the description. I put a description in the description. Mediocre with very few bright spots. Okay. Heard my phone going off over there, but you know, they can wait. I'm not answering it. What are you calling me at 11:30 at night? Like, why am I on the computer at 11:30 at night doing a live stream? Oh my goodness. About 50% good, 50% bad. Okay. Well, I'll give my overall impressions of the show. I thought it was okay overall. There were some things I really liked about it. One match in particular that I really, really enjoyed. It did have a few nice surprises. This wasn't a case where if I had skipped it and then read the results, I was like, whoa, I actually missed some stuff. So it wasn't like an uneventful pay-per-view by any means. But a lot of the things they did felt like they were done just for shock value, and some of what they did didn't quite work. And the ending, I think, is going to be a sore subject for a lot of people. So that's my overall impressions. I can run down the entire card and review it for you guys. Let's pull up the card just so I got the order. I did not see the pre-show match, but it was the Usos going over Daniel Bryan and Rowan. It's so weird to see Daniel Bryan on a pre-show. He feels like a much bigger star than that. But in any case, I didn't see the pre-show match. But we opened up with the first Money in the Bank ladder match, the women's one, with Bayley winning the contract from Carmella, Dana Brooke, Ember Moon, Mandy Rose, Naomi, Natalya, and Nikki Cross, who was the substitute for Alexa Bliss. Now, this match, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know how I feel about these multi-man or multi-person, multi-woman, whatever. These type of matches. To me, they're like pinball matches. They're just excuses to do spots. And really, the only thing I truly care about is who ultimately wins. But even though this is a match, the match itself, I'm probably going to forget in a couple of weeks. I did think the Eclipse spot from Ember Moon was really cool. Dana Brooke looked like she was looking to get noticed and worked a little hard in there. And Carmella got a nice little spot with Mandy Rose, and I guess there's going to be a feud there. I don't know. But overall, the match was fine as one of those type of multi-person ladder matches. If you love those type of matches, then this is another really good one. But for me, they're the type of thing that's just one ear and out the other. It's just a bunch of spots. But Bayley winning was interesting. I also thought it was interesting that she mentioned Sasha Banks a couple of times in the post-match promo. It's like, all right, so Sasha's thing will work. Is she, you know, who knows? We'll see. We'll see where that goes. But we know where Bayley goes. Stay tuned for more. She comes back later in the show. Next up, we had Rey Mysterio defeating Samoa Joe for the United States title in a match that went under 2 minutes. So I guess this is just the feud these two are having, where it's just they have really, really quick matches. Not that I'm complaining, because I don't know. Like 10 years ago, Rey versus Joe would have been awesome. 15 years ago, Rey versus Joe would have been awesome. Even 7 years ago, Rey versus Joe would have been awesome. Now, I don't know. Rey can probably still go in brief spurts, but he gets hurt a lot. And Joe ain't not bad, but he ain't what he used to be. So it's not a match that really jumps out to me. The post match they did were Joe getting upset at getting pinned, even though his shoulder was up, which was clear as day. Like, I don't know, like if that's what they were going for, that's fine, I guess. But I could not believe like how far off the mat Joe's shoulder was. It's like, how would the referee even miss that? Like, if this were real, if this were a shoot, bro, how would the referee even miss that? I don't know. But then Joe beat up Rey after the match. And then Rey walks out with his son and holds his hands up and they play his music. So it's almost like Joe's attack did almost nothing. And it's like, that's part of what's been killing the WWE product for years now. It's just they just don't let the heel keep their heat. And it's like, I already beat him up, but then Rey's just fine afterwards, so who cares? Next up, we had the steel cage match between Shane McMahon and The Miz. This was fine. I thought this was an enjoyable match. I probably would have liked it more if it wasn't for the finish, with Shane getting another screwy win off of an attempted superplex by The Miz. And I've been like, this feud's going to continue. I feel like a steel cage should be the end. And now there's room to do more. So they'll probably do a last man standing match or something like that. But the effort was definitely there, and you got some of the satisfaction of watching the Miz just beat the heel, the ever-loving hell out of the heel. I think it's a little strange to have a card with 2 ladder matches and a steel cage match. I think that might be pushing the gimmick button a little too much, but I've been yelling at that wall for well over a decade now. It's like too many gimmick matches, too many gimmick matches. So it's not even worth complaining about anymore. I just sound like an old man at this point, but it was, again, the match was enjoyable for what it was. I don't think it was nearly as good as the WrestleMania match. The effort was definitely there, and Shane is still quick as a cat and crazy. I was hoping to God, it's like, please don't let him do like a shooting star press off the cage or something stupid like that. Please don't let him do something stupid like that. And they didn't. So, but yeah, the finish, it was what it was, and we're probably going to get a rematch at some point, probably at Extreme Rules. It's like, oh boy. And I think it was around this point in the show that we started getting backstage segments involving Triple H and Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn, where Sami Zayn said that he doesn't want Braun Strowman to attack him during the show, and Triple H said he's been banned from the building. Sami Zayn gets attacked. Braun Strowman is backstage. He's been banned from the building. So everybody thinks that Braun Strowman attacked Sami Zayn. Again, I haven't been keeping up with WWE television, so I have no idea what the fuck's going on. And I was like, wait a minute, how is Braun back there if he got banned? And then Triple H asked him to leave. I'm like, you already banned him. What the fuck is going on? Call security. I was just thoroughly confused by it. But whatever's going on, it's obvious that Braun Strowman is not the one that attacked Sami Zayn. Otherwise, why even do the angle in the first place? So we'll see where that goes. I was thinking Bray Wyatt because, they found Sami Zayn hung upside down. And I'm like, oh, well, it's creepy and like borderline satanic. It's like, come on, yeah, Bray Wyatt did it. Yeah, that's what I'm going with, Bray Wyatt. Let's see what we got here. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Pure trashery. That's a great word. Was Lacey Evans trying to copy Okada's entrance? I don't know. Good question. You thought Mandy was winning? Has Mandy been a big deal on the screen? Or anyway. Hello, Clark. Welcome. Hello, Jedi Alex. Welcome to the stream. Rollins versus Corbin is the main event of the next pay-per-view. That's delightful. Should Bray and JoJo show their new son Firefly Funhouse? I mean, they can if they want. I'm not going to get in the way if they're parenting. But anyway, next match was Tony Nese versus Arya Daivari. Thought this match was boring. This was for the Cruiserweight title. It was just a very basic kind of match. Neither guy's really over, and it just felt like they threw it on there just for the sake of having a Cruiserweight title match on the show. So, didn't really care for that one too much. Sorry. Kicked my desk. Tony Nese retained. I don't think anybody really cared, but there you go. Next up, both of Becky Lynch's title matches were back-to-back. Becky Lynch defending the Raw Women's title against Lacey Evans, and then immediately followed up by her title defense for the SmackDown Women's title against Charlotte Flair. Now, Lacey Evans has a lot of question marks around her because she's like an unproven commodity at this point. And it's obvious that they want to make a star out of her. It's very clear. Like they're working on her look, and they gave her a fancier entrance where she's throwing money everywhere, and they're giving her a lot of promo time. And it's clear that somebody thinks very highly of her, probably Vince, and wants her to be a star. It's like, all right, this is a big chance to prove herself. Let's see how she does. And not bad. I thought the match was mostly fine. The biggest botch I noticed actually came from I don't really know whose fault it was, but on the missile dropkick from Becky, where it looked like Becky fell short. So I don't know if Lacey was out of position or if Becky just kind of lost her balance and kind of fell down. I don't know. But the match was probably better than I expected it to be. I still feel like Lacey Evans got moved up to the main roster too soon, but she didn't look completely incompetent in this match. So I don't know if that can be attributed to her improvement or Becky is just good at making her opponents look good. Who knows? I don't really know. But Becky retained, which was no surprise. And then when they followed it up immediately with the SmackDown match, I was like, oh, well, Charlotte's winning the title. And sure enough, Lacey Evans came out and basically cost Becky the title. So Charlotte Flair won the new SmackDown Women's title. And then as the two heels were beating up on Becky, Bayley comes out and helps Becky fight off the heels and then takes out Charlotte and then cashes in the Money in the Bank. And now Bayley is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Lot going on there, very rushed. They did the same thing last year with Alexa Bliss, if I'm not mistaken, where she cashed in the night she won the briefcase. I mean, if they don't want to have multiple briefcases going out through a long storyline period, then maybe they shouldn't have 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches. I've had the idea, it's like, look, maybe instead of doing a men's one and a women's one, why don't you just do one every year and just pick a different thing for it to be for? Like, do a tag team one, do a men's one, do a cruiserweight one. Just do a different one every year. And just to, spice it up a little bit. That's just my take. And it makes, it kind of gives a little bit more variety to the event where you don't know which prize they're going to be fighting over until it's time to start building to that show. And then, you don't, it kind of takes away from the over gimmicking of the pay-per-view if you don't have 2 ladder matches on the show. But that's just my opinion. Have you heard about Pac and Hangman? Yeah, that sucks. That's a shame that Double or Nothing is losing that match. Starrcade 99, the Sid Nash Powerbomb match has one of the worst finishes I've ever seen. Well, it is WCW. They were the king of bad finishes. But anyway, moving right along from those matches, 3 women's title matches in a row. It was crazy. They really just took up the whole middle of the show. But it didn't come off too poorly. Again, I think maybe Bayley winning the title was a little rushed, but and them having to play her music when she goes out to save Becky is a little ridiculous to me. Like, okay, Lacey Evans, to cost Becky the match, she just snuck up on her and punched her right in the face. And like, no music. She didn't do the whole entrance and everything. She just came out, popped her one, and basically set up Becky for the loss. That's a little sneakier and a little bit more spontaneous, or at least feels more spontaneous than waiting for the music to play for the babyface to go out there and make the save and that type of stuff. So I had that issue with it as well. But overall, I thought this all came off okay. Didn't love either match necessarily, but as far as like getting a little bit more heat on Evans, I thought it worked for that. And as far as providing a little bit of spice and shock value to the pay-per-view, I think it helped out with that as well. So next up we had, oh my God. Okay, so Elias hit Roman Reigns with a guitar backstage and then did his concert. So it looked like the Roman Reigns-Elias match wasn't going to happen until Roman Reigns came out, beat the shit out of him, and then beat him in 9 seconds. It's like, all right, so Roman Reigns is no selling a guitar shot now. This is the type of shit that we're doing. It's like, dude, there is no point for the heel to beat him up before the match if he's not going to sell the beating and have that play in as a part of the match. It makes no sense to do that at all whatsoever. So this just felt like a complete waste of time. Like all of this was just a complete waste of time. And, whatever. Then we got the Universal title match, Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. I thought this was really good. I thought this was a really good match. Both guys going out there and bringing out their A game and hitting all their best stuff on each other. Had some amazing counters, like the AJ's counter of the curb stomp into the Styles Clash, which looked incredible. Like I was like, how the fuck did he do that? Like that looks insane. But it was a great spot, and I thought it was a very good match. Seth got the win, which didn't surprise me, but I thought overall, they had a really good match. Easily match of the night on this pay-per-view. I really enjoyed it. Next up was some stuff I didn't enjoy as much, where Lars Sullivan came out and beat up the Lucha House Party and actually got busted open hard way. Joe got busted open hard way during his match with Ray as well. So it was like, it's kind of a common theme throughout the show. It's like, everybody's getting busted open. What's going on here? But yeah, that segment I get they want to make Lars Sullivan a monster and everything, but I just like, I don't really care. But then we got Kofi Kingston versus Kevin Owens for the WWE title. This match did not work for me, and it's one of those things I don't really know what it was, but I just couldn't get invested in it. I think the problem is that Kevin Owens' heel turn was so forced and ridiculous, and it was just a lame excuse to give Kofi someone to fight that I just didn't really care about the match itself going in. So what we got was just kind of flat to me. Kofi retained, which I expected. Yeah, that's it. It was a match that happened. It certainly happened. Let me keep up with your comments here. I thought TNA was the king of bad finishes. No, they took the crown from WCW. You are half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do. My favorite dumb line in the history of wrestling. I recently recovered Undertaker's Deadliest Matches DVD. Do you know of that DVD? I think I do. Don't they have like the last ride matches with like Anderson or Kennedy, as he was known back then, or like the Concrete Craze? It's like basically a bunch of Undertaker gimmick matches. Basically, I think I'm aware of that DVD. Did you hear about WWE finding Lars Sullivan and sending him to sensitivity classes? Yeah. That whole situation, I don't know. I'm not defending what Lars Sullivan said. I'm just saying, it's like, look, he said it 12 years ago on a message board. Can we calm the fuck down? Like, I don't know. That's just silly to me. It just seems like he wasn't even working for the WWE at the time, and now they've got like a scandal on their hands over somebody digging up something from a message board over a decade ago. That just seems ridiculous, but I'm not convinced that they actually find him either. I think it's just something that WWE said they did just so people would get off their backs, but you know. Anyway, so we had the WWE title match, and next up was Brock Lesnar, of all people, unannounced, winning the Money in the Bank ladder match against Prince Ali, Fabulous He, Ali Ababa. Sorry, every time I hear Ali's name, I think of that song. Andrade, not Cien Almas anymore. Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Randy Orton, and Ricochet. Now, prior to Lesnar, and I'm going to get into Lesnar, but prior to Lesnar, I thought the match was a wild car wreck, and they were doing shit to each other. Like, even someone like me who's like, oh, these matches just go in one ear and out the other. They were doing stuff to each other. I was like, damn, some of this stuff is dangerous. Like, there was a Spanish fly in the match, and Finn took a sunset flip powerbomb onto a ladder, and Finn also got chokeslammed onto the side of a ladder, and there was a chokeslam through a table. They were doing all sorts of crazy stuff to each other. It's like, man, some of these guys are really trying to prove themselves in the main event. And ultimately, it was all for naught as Lesnar just magically showed up at the end, took the briefcase, and then walked out. So I was like, my joke immediately was, wait, so did Lesnar just Money in the Bank, cash in, win the Money in the Bank ladder match? Because it's like, it felt like something that they did for shock value to get people to tune into Raw tomorrow night. It's like, oh yeah, Brock Lesnar won the Money in the Bank. It's like, how the fuck did that happen? Just craziness galore. I think a lot of people are going to get mad at this because it's like, wait a minute, Lesnar again? We're back on the Lesnar train? What the fuck? But I'll tell you what, his cash-in is going to feel like a shock because he's going to disappear, and then, he'll just magically show up one day and cash in. It'll be great. But how do I feel about it? I'm kind of done with Lesnar at this point. The only thing I want to see Lesnar do at this point is have a match with Matt Riddle, because I think that could be a real money match if they handle Matt Riddle the way they should. We'll see once he gets to the main roster. But I think that's a money match that would be great to have. Other than that, like him being the champion again, and I just, him wrestling Seth Rollins again, him wrestling pretty much. I can't think of one guy on the main roster right now that I'd like to see Lesnar wrestle, to be perfectly honest. I'm just kind of done with him at this point. So when he won the briefcase, I was like, not my cup of tea. That's their excuse for doing Rollins, Lesnar, in Saudi Arabia. Is that why they're doing it? Okay. The Saudis get everything, I guess. It was surreal to see Ricochet in a WWE pay-per-view main event. It kind of is if you think about it. Do you actually trust Vince with Matt Riddle? Honestly, no. How can you win a match he wasn't even in? I don't know how they're going to explain that. That's like he was not an official participant of the match, yet somehow he got added to it at literally the last second. Seems a little silly. They're probably going to explain that the McMahons were pulling strings for him because they love him and because he's a big box office draw or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So overall, Money in the Bank, I didn't hate the show, and I really liked the AJ Rollins match. I thought that was very good, but a few things fell flat for me, and the Lesnar thing is like, kind of has me. I mean, I'm not raging out like I'm sure a lot of other people are probably going to do, but or maybe everybody's too busy raging out over the Game of Thrones finale. I don't know, but that's what happened to season 8, man. That's going to go down as one of the great tragedies in television history, where it's like they were poised to have like this amazing conclusion to one of the greatest TV shows in the history of all time, and then they just completely shit the bed in season 8. It's kind of amazing. As someone from the UK, I'm moving to Saudi Arabia. They get more than us. It feels that way. I wouldn't trust Vince with my laundry. Neither would I. What went wrong? Game of Thrones. That's a whole video I could do right there. I wouldn't even know, like, I don't even know the definitive answer of what went wrong exactly. It's just, guys, it was all right there. It was just all there. What did you do? Did you watch the Big Bang finale? I did. I went back and watched the Big Bang finale. I think it's weird that I live in a world where the Big Bang Theory finale is probably going to turn out more satisfying than the Game of Thrones finale. Never would have predicted that, but here we are. And Big Bang Theory was a show I gave up on a few years ago, like a while ago. And I felt like it overstayed its welcome. It's one of those shows that was like, it's time to say goodbye. I feel like the shtick is done. Kind of like Simpsons, kind of like Family Guy. Although nowhere near as bad as in Big Bang Theory's case, where it's like Simpsons, I'm just begging for it to stop at this point. But I did check out the finale because I was curious, and I watched it. I was like, it was actually pretty sweet. It was actually a nice ending to the show, and Sheldon's speech at the end was like, I didn't cry, but I had to fight myself from crying, and that says a lot. So Big Bang Theory came through with its finale. I'll give it that. People started up a petition to remake the whole season. Yeah, people also started a petition to discount The Last Jedi as canon, so which I kind of do anyway. I kind of discount The Last Jedi as canon. It's like, oh, episode 8 sucked. I'm like, what are you talking about? Episode 8 was my favorite one of the Thrawn trilogy. Oh, I count the Thrawn trilogy as the true canon. That's just my take on it. But I'm not Sheldon. Do I look like Sheldon to you? I don't act like Sheldon. I don't sound like Sheldon. I sound like Mickey Mouse, actually. But thoughts on the episode 9 trailer? They're really relying on nostalgia to kind of like, it felt like they knew people were pissed over The Last Jedi, so they're just kind of like, no, we got Lando back, guys. And no, the Emperor's back, guys. And it just feels like a desperate attempt to try and win everybody back. I'm like, I don't know. What do you think of Robert Pattinson as Batman? I'll give him a chance. A lot of people said that Michael Keaton wouldn't make a good Batman back in the day, and here we are. Like, I would say Michael Keaton is my favorite actor to play Batman in live action, so I'll give him a chance. It feels like if they had casted him right around the time of Twilight, I would have said, oh, they're capitalizing on Twilight, whatever. But he's been I mean, Twilight ended a while ago, so it's not like a fresh thing. It feels like this pop culture phenomenon that just kind of came and went, and it's been kind of dead for a while. So it's not like Robert Pattinson is like this huge name in the moment right now. So when I heard he got cast as Batman, I'm like, I'll give him a shot. Rename your channel The Nerd Lounge. Is that already taken? I feel like that's a name that would be already taken. Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, or Christian Bale? Oh, Michael Keaton. Yeah, Michael Keaton's my favorite of the three. Kathleen Kennedy is desperate to have all the major characters from the original trilogy and the 2010s trilogy. Well, I guess with Lando and the Emperor now, they've gotten all of them, just about all the ones they can get. Radcliffe is actually a good act. Like Daniel Radcliffe, I've seen him in a few other things. He's actually a solid actor. That movie Swiss Army Man, which is the weirdest reaction I've ever had to a movie, where I don't know if I liked it or not. Like, it's one of those movies that it's so weird. I kind of appreciate it for how weird it is, but it's so off the wall ridiculous. I don't know if I should like shit on it and reject it or just kind of embrace it for how weird it is. I legitimately don't know how to feel about that movie. But one thing I do like, his performance in it, even though he's a corpse for most of it, is pretty solid. It's a pretty solid performance with some funny lines. So I give him credit. I kind of groaned when I heard Palpatine's laugh. You know, the sad thing is, I bet that the Emperor is only in one scene in the whole movie. I'm willing to bet money that he's only in one scene. And it's like this expository scene where he explains to Rey that she's his granddaughter or some shit like that. But that's one of those things I'm willing to bet that that's what's going on. And actually, people have told me, going back to Robert Pattinson, people have told me that he's a really good actor in other things. I haven't seen him in any other thing besides Twilight or his role as Cedric in the Harry Potter film, but so I can't really gauge him as an actor. Because Twilight is not a good barometer for whether or not someone is a good actor, because it's like those movies are not designed to have good performances. They're just not. Because the people that liked Twilight did not watch it for really good performances. They wanted to see vampires and werewolves and this bland as fuck chick just make goo-goo eyes at each other, and they wanted the werewolves to take the shirt off, and it's the type of thing that was just not made to have good performances. So I would never judge anyone based off of those movies, because it's really not fair. Can we all just forget Twilight ever existed? I mean, there's always dumb things that pop up from time to time. Do you think it pisses Daniel off that he'll only be famous for Harry Potter? He's set for life as long as he's smart. I would embrace it personally. Even if, I can understand if it gets frustrating where he wants like juicier roles and people just only see him as Harry Potter. But it's like, dude, it's a role that's going to keep you financially secure for the rest of your life. So I would probably embrace it. But okay, I think I am babbling at this point. So, I think I'm going to sign off here before midnight. Well, Harrison Ford is remembered for a ton of other things. That's the thing. Like, Harrison Ford can say, like, oh, I don't like being remembered as just Han Solo. It's like, well, yeah, because he did a shitload of other things like Indiana Jones and Air Force One and Blade Runner and Deconstructing Harry, which I thought he was actually, that movie has flaws, but I thought he was really good in it. So Harrison Ford, he became like an A-list actor. I wouldn't want to be remembered for just one thing ever either if I had the resume that Harrison Ford did. And it's like that time Nimoy in his book, I Am Not Spock. Yeah, Leonard Nimoy is a terrific actor, and unfortunately, he just kind of got saddled with that role. And granted, we love him as Spock. He's great as Spock. You can't see anybody else besides him playing Spock, even though Zachary Quinto, no knock on him, but it's like, you're not Leonard Nimoy. It's just not the same. And, he was a very, very good actor, Leonard Nimoy was, and probably deserved greater success than just being typecast as the guy with the ears. Oh, Alec Guinness. Well, here's the thing. I've heard that Alec Guinness didn't like being remembered just as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I've heard that story. If I could speak to Alec Guinness, if he were still alive and I actually had a face-to-face with him, I would say, because of Star Wars, I found your other work. Because of Star Wars, I discovered you, and I found out you were in other things, like Lawrence of Arabia and Oliver Twist. And my personal favorite performance that he ever gave was in Bridge on the River Kwai. That is a great movie, and he's fantastic in it. Picard, I think you mean Picard. Picard or Kirk? Picard is the better captain, but Kirk is more fun, if that makes any sense. I think, I mean, if you twisted my arm, I would say Picard overall is the better character and more developed and obviously better at being a captain. Kirk is like that macho quarterback type that's just a ton of fun to watch. I love watching William Shatner as Captain Kirk, and he's great. He's so much fun and so entertaining. But I think Picard overall is a better character with his way of looking at things, the way he handles the crew, and the way he handles tragedies, like what happened to him with the Borg, what happened to him where he got what was that episode where he got sucked up by that probe and basically lived another man's entire history through the death of a planet? And the flute episode, I guess I should call it. But the last episode of Next Gen, which I think is terrific. I mean, you can ask for, you want to talk about a very satisfying finale. I think the finale to Next Gen is about as flawless as you could possibly ask for. I think it's up there as one of the all-time great television finales. Yeah, but Will Wheaton sucks. Yeah, I kid, but Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto, I've played very little of those games. My experiences with them are very minimal. I'm not the biggest gamer in the world, so. I think Kirk is better because Michael Myers wears his mask. Fair point. When's the next stream? I don't know yet. I have a live stream series that I'm planning. I might be kicking it off sometime this summer, so be on the lookout for that. But there's another one that's going to be WWE Network related, and that's the only clue I'm going to give. But we'll see when that starts up. All righty. All right, so I'll tell you what. I will stay on for 5 more minutes. So I'm looking at my clock right now. All right, so 5 more minutes. You guys can ask me questions. Thursday Night Thunder streams? No, I can't be free on Thursday night. See, I always do my live streams on the weekend because, you know, Sunday morning or Saturday morning, I'm free. If you know, I'll just run my errands, come up and run the stream, so it's easy. Most of the time I'm free. It's like now Saturday night and Sunday night, that's a different story. But yeah, so any other questions y'all want to ask me before I sign off here? Rise of WCW, Thursday Night Thunder. Yeah, I figured you wanted me to stream episodes of Thunder, but what are your favorite Garfield and Friends episodes? Any episode with the Buddy Bears. I thought they were hilarious because I hated, even as a kid, I hated shows like Care Bears and Shirt Tales and those cutesy type of shows because it was all about like being super, super friendly and being super, super nice to each other at the expense of individuality, and just everybody has to think, act, and feel the same way. And I just hated that shit. And the Buddy Bears were just a wonderful parody of that. And they had like their little song and dance. If you ever disagree, it means that you are wrong. And it's just preaching group harmony over individual thought. And even though I couldn't verbalize that as a child, there was that reason why I didn't like Care Bears. So to see Garfield make fun of that whole idea, I thought was great. You ever heard of Street Sharks? Yes, I have. It's the most blatant Ninja Turtle ripoffs I've ever seen in my life. But I thought Biker Mice from Mars was close, but Street Sharks was, holy shit, it's just the Ninja Turtles, but they're sharks. That's literally what it is. Prediction for tomorrow night's Raw. A bunch of boring matches that don't mean anything, and they're probably going to do some angle to explain how Lesnar was able to get into the Money in the Bank. Do you think the Dark Phoenix movie will be good? No. In a word, no, I don't. The only thing I wish happened was that Orson's Farm had their own show. I don't know. I thought they were fine as part of Garfield. I never saw them as like... They were a nice sub-show to Garfield, but I didn't know if I would like watch a full half hour of those farm animals. Power rank, top 5 WWE superstars after tonight's pay-per-view. Based on what? Like kayfabe? Because we're basing it on kayfabe, it would be like Seth, Kofi, Lesnar, Bailey, and I don't know, somebody else. My sister's weird. She reads for pleasure. So do I. What's wrong with reading? Reading's awesome. What are you knocking reading for? Books are the real treasures of the world. An actual quote from Skeletor. Me neither, but at least we have the animated series adaptation. Yes, we do. The weird thing that I'm getting from the trailer for Dark Phoenix is that it looks like a remake of X-Men 3. So when I heard the same person wrote it, I was like, well, shit, it looks like a remake. Some of the scenes in it looked like they're taken right out of X-Men 3. So that's one of the reasons I'm like, are they just making the same movie again? What are your favorite Starrcades? 85 is up there. Probably 87, 88. After that, 96 I remember being pretty good. Yeah, I'd say, and 83 as well for being the first. So I'd say those are my favorites overall. Is Godzilla 2 here yet? No, not yet. I'm still waiting. We're less than 2 weeks away. And all the reactions online have been mostly positive. So it's like, oh God, can this movie just get here like immediately for the love of Christ? What went wrong? Starrcade 97 main event. I could write a whole book about what went wrong there. I might be alone in this, but I think Ghidorah should have been the main big bad for the third movie. I don't know how far they plan this ahead, though. That's the thing. Like, I wouldn't have minded saving Ghidorah for later, but I think they kind of rushed into the second sequel. It's like, oh, by the way, because remember 5 years ago when they said they were going to do a sequel, it was just announced. It's like, oh, by the way, Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah are going to be in the next movie. So huzzah. I don't know if they had the ability to save Ghidorah for later, if that makes any sense. It would have been cool to see Godzilla and Kong team up against Ghidorah, though. Yeah, Stargate 95 is a weird one. Because it's WCW versus New Japan, it's this weird thing where it's like, it's a fun show for being different, but it doesn't feel like that massive payoff show that you feel like Starrcade is supposed to be, like a WrestleMania. It just feels like this thing that's not necessarily all that important. But yeah, it's not a bad show. I recommend checking it out. When can Space Godzilla come back? I'd be open to Space Godzilla coming back. I'm down for that. So, alrighty, I think my 5 minutes are up, and I'm going to head off to bed because I got to get up to work, get up and go to work in the morning. So that's all I have for you now. Thank you all for watching this live stream. As always, I appreciate all the support and you guys participating in these streams. But that is all I have now. So thanks again, and I'll see you all later.